Hi, my name is Laura Dahne, and I want to invite you to this edition of Fascinating Women Touching the World. Well, as an inner healing coach, I love helping people to get unstuck so that they can live full. And for me, that means playful, hopeful, prayerful, grateful. I'm choosing to do this platform, Fascinating Women Touching the World, because I love to highlight women who are impacting the world around them through their businesses or through their ministry. So this is an opportunity for me to help you connect with women that you might not meet and that they might not get a chance to meet you. Well, today I want to have the pleasure to introduce you to somebody who I met many years ago. At the time, we were both working at a place called Agape. Well, I have to tell you that we came together as sisters in the Lord, as co-workers, but even as importantly, as friends. And isn't it great when you can create friendships that go beyond the walls of where you work? Well, one thing I learned about Claudia in my time with her is that she absolutely loved photography. And can I tell you that just looking at her work, I saw that not only did she have a passion, but she had an eye. She had a gift. And I have to tell you that I had the courage, I had the wonderful privilege to watch her have the courage to leave her place of work, her position, her paycheck, and step out to become an entrepreneur and open up her own business, Claudia Rios Photography. Well, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to my friend, Claudia Rios.
Hi, beautiful. It is such a privilege for me to be here with you. You have been the sunshine since I began thinking about becoming a sole proprietorship and starting this walk with photography. Thank you for having me.
I am so glad that you are joining me. And I know that you're going to greatly encourage someone today who's either feeling that nudge to step out and do sole proprietorship, to step out and follow their heart and the Lord's will, because everything's about the Lord's timing. But I'm so grateful that, I was in your life at that time to watch that whole thing unfold and to watch you become a successful businesswoman. So, I want to ask you, as I asked all of my guests, how are you uniquely helping people to get unstuck?
Okay, so as for my clients, helping them get unstuck in front of a camera, I would say it's a privilege because it allows me to be able to walk them to feeling comfortable. So getting unstuck for being in front of the camera.
Which is hard, right? It's hard to get people comfortable.
It is, especially since they're used to having a phone rather than a big camera with the lens, and then somebody instructing them and basically guiding them to that is a little bit uncomfortable at the beginning. I would say that one way that I help them feel unstuck is by allowing them to feel comfortable with me. So the way I do that is that I try really hard to start talking and asking questions and making them feel like it's just about them. Right. And that I'm not there to judge, but just to really be able to guide them to a process that it's that season of their lives. So a lot of talking, a lot of guiding, a lot of little tips before. But I think most of all, what I hear back from my clients that has helped them enjoy a session and feel unstuck and comfortable in front of a camera, it's that we make it fun, we make it playful. We laugh and we create jokes, and all that makes it really enjoyable.
Well, as a woman who loves photography myself, and my children can attest that they were raised, with a camera in their face or a video camera. One thing I've really come to understand is that, especially in this generation with people taking selfies, it's very different looking into your camera and catching the right angle versus being on the other side of a camera, because now you can't see yourself. You have to trust the photographer's eye. And so I love that you have this gift to be able to help women, men, children get comfortable without seeing themselves and trusting your eye to be able to help to pose them and get them to feel, relaxed. Because that shows up in pictures, doesn't it?
It does. I think one of the things that shows a lot in pictures is a genuine laugh. So I find that with selfies, a lot of those laughs are very, you practice that laugh, that's your good angle, that's your good laugh, that's what's going to help you look, but when you have somebody else taking a photo and trusting that eye, like you said earlier, and then being able to create a moment that it's fun and they're laughing just from their heart, from their soul, it just is they see themselves in a different way.
Yes.
And genuinely, that's the reason why I so fell in love with photography, is being able to show my clients, or whoever the subject is in front of me, that they have a beautiful smile without having that cheesy smile we all do. Like we're gonna do photos like, cheese. This is my good angle.
Or like some women, they're just so used to doing the zhuzhing, right? They don't know that they're naturally beautiful without the zhuzhing and what do they call them? The duck lips or something.
Yeah. So that's just so fun. And I just love to see that result of clients when they see themselves in a different way. Just see how beautiful, and that genuine smile, just that careless smile of I'm laughing from my soul. And that to me is priceless. That's the pictures that at the end of the day, they'll enjoy the most.
Well, and the only way that can really come is when women really love other women. I know that for myself, I really love other women and I love to see them be highlighted. And that's one of the things I enjoy about you. You love to celebrate women. You love to celebrate their beauty. You're not trying to diminish their beauty, right? You're trying to bring out their beauty, and not just the beauty of the women, because I know that when you photograph the groom, to be. So share a little bit about how you do your bridal photography.
So do you mean like the bride and the bridesmaids, or just the bride?
Just how you do it. Like, what is your style? What is your kind of like unique approach that when you are going to do photography for a wedding?
Okay, so if I'm gonna do bride photos, I do have a list of stuff that I do ask the bride, like to have the room clean. I do ask that just certain guidelines that we can know about before wedding day. And this helps the brides also feel more relaxed. Like, okay, they know what they need to do. They get to have chance to prepare. So once I reach the bride, I always want to give her a hug and a kiss, to say hi, I'm here, I'm excited. But I basically start analyzing, where can I start getting more natural light? What's coming up on the timeline? Like if they're finishing up her makeup, I would love to take a photos of her as they're finishing up her makeup. I like to see if the mom is watching her. So some candidates where I see maybe the mom is looking at her and dropping a tear, like those for me are timeless moments. So I like to do a little bit of guiding and a little bit of candidates and a little bit of correcting as things that could be happening, just so that we can get a full story. Because really a wedding day is about a story. We're telling a story. So that's how I approach a bridal time. Analyzing the space, analyzing the light, analyzing what's going on in that moment. Moments at a wedding are short, so we do have to think fast. So that's how I approach the bride. And then the groom, kind of with the same mission. Usually guys are watching football, having a drink. So I come in looking for light. I can come and start cleaning up a little bit, organizing, putting things away. And then some things I kind of leave, like if they have certain things that catch my eye and I feel like that means something to them, I want that shot too.
Yeah.
So, and I just focus on the surrounding of the clients, but what's surrounding the client.
That's so good. Sense. It's like you really have to get engaged, right?
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've never been to the level of photography that you are, but I have shot some weddings, more or less against my will, you might say, because it's so intimidating, right? I mean, this is like the moment of people's lives. But did it, out of, a true request. But I had so much fun photographing, because talk about a day of joy, right? Yeah. And a long day. It's a very, it's a long day for a photographer, because you're there from the beginning to the end.
Anywhere from, like, depending on the size of the wedding, it could be anywhere from 4 to 6 to 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah,
and really, usually photographers will always get there earlier, just because they want to scout out the area. They want to look for good light. We want to look for great locations. We want to make sure that everything is as we, especially if it's a new venue, we want to make sure we become acquainted and familiarized with what's going on within the area we're going to be taking photos.
And I know that you don't only do wedding photography. It's just that I've seen your work and it truly is spectacular. You know, you have to have a real eye and a real love and a real ability to create the lighting, you know, to get really dreamy. That's what I think when I look at your wedding photography, the word dreamy comes to mind, you know?
Oh, that's good to know. I
Oh,
like that, 'cause
absolutely.
that is kind of what I'm attracted to. That type of
Well,
light.
it shows up. It really shows up in your photography. It's dreamy. So, but I know that you don't only do wedding photography. What other kind of photography do you also do?
So I love family sessions. I love to get that lifestyle photography of just having the family at the beach or even at their home. Just a place that is important to them, and then being able to capture some formals and some candids and some, you know, playing around. So I do family. I do, of course, the engagement sessions for many of the couples that are getting married. Love maternity sessions as well. Your daughter.
I was going to say, yeah, after the engagement and the wedding, comes the maternity. It's not always in that order, but it's okay.
Not always
No
in
judgment.
that order, but it happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maternity. Keen says, so just having a subject in front of me and capturing that adventure of their lives, that what's going on in their lives is, I enjoy it. I sink into that.
I saw the quince pictures you did for one particular client. Again, drop dead, gorgeous, dreamy, ethereal. Yeah. So I'm really going to encourage people to go to your site and see the work that you do, because a picture's worth 1,000 words. You really don't know a photographer until you've seen their work, who they are. This is how I see it, who they are behind the lens. And the truth is, right, photographers have their own perspective, their own nature. So not all photography is the same at all.
No, there's so many different types of photography. Like you just said, I focus a lot in natural light. I avoid the flash. I love natural settings. I look for those natural settings. I love outdoor photography, period. If you put me inside like the Biltmore, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, and I'll take those shots. Don't take me wrong, I'll still take it. But it's not the same feeling. It's different light.
Yeah, and nobody looks as good as they do in natural light, right?
I believe that too. I believe that natural light just gives it a such more, again, more calm, more relaxed, more soft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I know that you're speaking to somebody who has, well, you could be speaking to a number of people. One, you could be speaking to brides to be, you could be speaking to photographers, but I also know that you also could be speaking to a potential entrepreneur. So I just want to ask you, what gave you the courage? I know that it's a series of events, or I'm imagining that is, but what would you say was the final nudge that gave you the courage to jump off, right, the platform of, quote unquote, a title, a position, a paycheck, to jump into the unknown?
Wow. So that's such an awesome question. What gave me the courage? Faith. Faith gave me the courage to walk by what I couldn't see. I really had to put my heart in God and rely on his provision and his guidance, and him just directed me. And it wasn't just something that came out of me and my soul. It was a desire I had to want to do photography, but it was mostly this desire to really be able, for the first time in my life, to have the courage to do something that I love so much under God's covering, if that makes sense. It was I had never been able to do I wouldn't have been able to do what I did if it wasn't because I felt God's leading, God's hand upon me. If I had not prayed about it, if I had not received God's word guiding me through the whole thing. So in reality, really God was the reason why I got on that boat. I always say something, it's kind of like, even like when you're on the boat and Peter sees Jesus and he goes and he tells, Jesus calls him. And as long as you keep your eyes on Jesus, Peter kept walking on water. And the minute that Jesus started saying, well, what's going on here, instead of sinking, it's like you lose focus.
Yeah.
But Jesus comes to the rescue. So I compare myself with Peter in the sense that I've kept my eyes on Jesus. I've walked on water with the photography in the sense that I've enjoyed it. I loved it. I had such great experiences. I've met beautiful couples, amazing clients. I've been into beautiful venues. That's been such a beautiful journey for me. But there are times when doubt has come and I've sank a little bit. There are times when I have felt like I've questioned what I've done, just like in my flesh, as a human. And then again, I just call up on Jesus, and he lifts me up and he takes me up and I keep walking on water. And I'm enjoying this. I will always be a photographer. It's something that is in my DNA forever and ever.
That's so beautiful, that you are transparent about there are doubts that come. I mean, whenever we step into the unknown, there's always those moments where we're wondering, did we hear God correctly? From a timeline, I never asked you this before, but I'm curious, from a timeline, from the time that you dreamed about actually stepping out of your job and doing photography full-time, what was the timeline for you? It's different for everybody, I know, but what do you think it was for you? 1 month, 6 months, 1 year?
So it was a process, if I understand your question correctly. So it was a process. I have been second shooting weddings, doing quinceas, doing maternity sessions. I think I did a few while I was still at work. So it was a preparation. I feel like God was preparing me to take me into going full time. From that time that I was working full time and doing the photography part time, I felt like God was working in my heart, was working and giving me a desire to give me that independence to become that photographer. Yeah. But mostly because a desire to be, but it was also kind of like, I felt like God was giving me a gift. I had prayed long ago about a gift, something that I could do, that it was just something that I could do. Not something that was my husband's and it was a business. I wanted something that would come out of my heart and that I can produce, basically. And so I felt it was an answer to prayer from many years ago. And I felt God had, as always, very organized and loving God, had been preparing me to take me to the point of stepping out in faith to be a full-time photographer.
That's a great word, because it is the word process, and it's a word that fits into this conversation well. Part of my testimony that Claudia, is that when my husband passed away, now unbelievably 25 years ago, but when he passed away, I began to seek the Lord and ask him, should I go back to school? Should I open a business? Should I stay, where I currently was, which was the school system, but it didn't pay really well. I mean, I was very happy there, but the Lord gave me a vision. 6 months later, gave me a vision. So it's important. Number one, constant prayer, staying in contact with our Heavenly Father. He gave me a vision that I would open a tea room, but it was be 3 years later. But those were not 3 years of just waiting on, doing nothing. I was preparing, I was planning, I was making, relationships. I was learning about business. So yeah, there is a time of preparation. And for the woman or man that's listening to this today, and you have a desire in your heart and you believe that God is giving you the green light, that it will happen. I love what you said, Claudia, is that, be busy in the field, whatever it is, that you plan on doing, get connected in that way, because it's a part of the process. I think of it as like a lily pad. We jump from lily pad to lily pad. And that's exactly what happened with me, is that, 3 years later, I opened up a tea room, just like the Lord had showed me, but it was definitely, a process.
It is, definitely a process, and everything that we do, and such a testimony that I can look back and see how God had been working in my life and prepping me for what he was going to do.
So how long has it been now that you've had your sole proprietorship?
2016 officially. So right before I left Agape, the Lord led me to start, do a DBA, my business, start a website. So everything was working. So February 2016, I became officially registered in Sunbiz.
So I don't know if this kind of puts you on the spot. I don't know the answer to this, so I'm going to ask you. Sure. Why is sole proprietorship versus, a nonprofit or for-profit? What is a sole proprietorship?
So I started off as a sole proprietorship, and to be fully honest, I was supposed to have turned my sole proprietorship status with the state of Florida to an LLC in January. But again, we get busy and I let things get in the way, and I haven't changed it yet. But that's one of the things that God has been speaking to me, especially now during the season, where it doesn't take away, but it would financially help me with the status of paying taxes.
Okay, that's good to
So,
know. So it's
like,
actually better to be what?
so according to the attorney I spoke to, LLC is much beneficial for businesses, along with an S corp, which
Okay.
will be for taxes. So LLC is how I'm incorporated. The S corp is how I file taxes as a business owner. Right
Wow.
now, I'm sole proprietorship, so I'm paying more taxes.
This is so interesting. And it goes to show again, when you step out to do a business, there's so much more than just what your business is. There's
We wear
all
so
of
many
these,
hats.
yeah. Yeah, and knowing a good person, a good lawyer, is so important because, how did you end up deciding who to trust? Was it somebody you already knew, or you just went word of mouth?
So no, what happened was that so again, we go back to God leading. When I left Agape, a lot of doors opened for me in a miraculous way that I'm like, Lord, I know that's just you. Really, it's just you. And it just humbled me. One of the prayers was that I wanted a mentor. And I was looking for a mentor and got on Google and found that District 8 here in South Dade had just started a small incubator for small business owners.
Hmm.
And I actually got to that accelerated South Dade a week before they closed.
Thank
So
you,
it's
Lord.
like I just made it on time. And I was there for 2 years, did not have to pay. This is again through District 8, a service that I forget the name of. Anyways, what I wanted to say, and I could get that information. If anybody's interested, you can reach out to me and I'll get that information. But what Accelerated South Dade is a small incubator for small businesses. And there is a coach there, a business coach who helps you basically grow your business. And this is all paid by District 8.
That is so amazing. Who doesn't need a mentor? We need mentors for all kinds of things. I always say, we need coaches for all kinds of areas of our
Yes, we
life,
sure do. We really,
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah, because all it is that somebody knows more than what we know, and it saves us, the time, to be able to go from where we are to where we want to be. So
Yes.
yeah, thank you for sharing that. When it comes to giving tips for photography, whether it's for brides or, or for a photographer, what kind of a tip would you want to leave with the listener today about photography?
That's really awesome. Well, for brides, I would say that the best advice I could give a bride is to really enjoy her day, to really just
Mm,
sink in and just enjoy your wedding day. Like they prep for so long and they have so many things that are not happening. But if they're able to just go with the flow and trust the process of the wedding and just trust the vendors they hired to do what they're supposed to do, and just enjoy and sink into
mm.
your family, your groom, your just every moment, because it goes by so fast, right?
It's so
So
true. That's a great, great word. Savor the time because it will go so quickly. And it's
yes.
true. So many people end up saying, I don't even remember
Mhm.
most of the day. And part of that's the excitement. And then your
Right.
mind is in 1,000 different places. But I want to say that, what I really appreciate about photography you know, um, is that when the disc jockey goes home and the person who made the beautiful cake, when the cake is eaten, they all go home. But the work of the photographer has really just begun because she's been there, well in advance before the wedding, getting to know the bride. Then she's there the day of the wedding, capturing all those moments. And then the work of editing and putting them together for the bride and the groom they're the ones that are still working.
Yes.
So would you say that you prefer the photography or the editing
Oh,
more?
definitely the photography.
I'm the opposite. I love to edit. I mean, I enjoy the
Really?
photography, but I love the editing process. So it's unique, right? Because everybody's a little different.
Right. Well, it's funny because I do love the photography and enjoying the day. I know what I capture. It's like I could really remember each and every photo I took, and I could remember as it was happening. So when I'm editing, I get to relive the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So that is true. And also it helps me to also become more creative. Like I look at a photo and, oh, I could have done this. I should have done that. So it does help me to continue to learn how I can improve. So the
Yeah.
edit, that's why I like, not that I like the editing, but that's why I get into the editing, because it does have its good side. But photography, just being out in the field, taking photos, I mean, that's just like, I could do it for hours. I will volunteer for free.
I see your face just
If I
lighting
need
up.
the money.
Yeah. I see your face just lighting up just talking about it. And I think for myself, you know, and for anybody listening who loves the editing process, I think what it is about a part of our personality is that we're looking for the thing that's hidden in the picture that we didn't even see originally. So it might be the hand that's on her back. And, you know, instead of just that picture, I like to focus right on the hand that's on the small of her back or something. That's a part of the editing process. But, you know, I just love watching you light up just talking about photography.
I do. I love it.
You know, I know that there's a lot of people that know you. You're private, but you're still an open book. You know, you're an enigma like that. You know, you're very open, very loving, and yet I know that, like myself, you're very private. So, what would be something that an average person that has spent time with you or knows you from as a photographer, maybe that they don't know about you?
Mm. Well, I want something that I really love, and I don't think I share enough, is that I really love cultures. I love
Mm.
cultures. I love people, but I love so much to learn about cultures. And if it would be up to me, I would love to like go to Africa and just live in different states and different places in Africa. I would love to go to Central America and South America and be able to explore
Yeah.
people. I mean, you know, the culture, the people, the food, their customs, and I guess that's why I so love like handmade stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just I really enjoy that.
Well, I definitely didn't know that about you, and I'm so glad I asked. Could I share something that I know that the Lord gave me the other day, just dropped it into my spirit? I'm calling it 12 regions in 12 months. And what that is my husband and I are doing this, but I invited our tribe to do it with us too. So here's what my husband and I are doing. We decided to start with Greece because I don't know anything about Greece
Gosh,
except,
that is
right?
in my list, like number one.
Yes, I definitely want to go to Greece. My top three are Italy, Paris, and Greece. But we started with Greece because I don't know anything about Greece except that I don't know how to say euro correct, you know, or gyro, whatever.
Oh, those are so good.
But here's what I want to say to you and to the listeners. So what we're doing is like for the whole month of May, we're focusing on Greece. So we've been watching YouTube videos. We've been learning about the history. We've been learning about the flag. We've been learning about their faith. We've been learning about their coffee. I didn't even know that there was such a thing as Greek coffee. So my husband and I have watched all these videos on how to make Greek coffee. We've ordered the stuff. We just got it in the mail yesterday. And, you know, so we're really diving in. It's talk about stay-at-home cation. But we're diving in, learning about the culture. I've been cooking authentic Greek food for our meals. And so I just want to share that with anybody, especially for those who feel kind of stuck because we're still in the midst of this pandemic, that you could visit other countries right through YouTube. And I've been learning some phrases. Next month, it will be something different, and we're going to really engage ourselves in a new culture in that month and start eating the food, learning the language, and learning the flag and their faith. So just something that,
That's
since you say
awesome.
you love
The only
cultures.
Limits we have is the one we put in ourselves, right?
Yes.
So if we're limited to this, but we can go above and beyond this season, just with what you're doing. It's funny,
so
we are
fun.
doing, yeah, we did, I was craving German food. So we went to Publix and Walmart and we got like a bunch of sausages, different sauerkrauts, mustard. We got the pretzels and we had a Greek night. I mean, I'm sorry, not Greek, German.
Yeah.
So that's different. And today, guess what we're doing?
What?
Today's Cinco de Mayo, so we're doing tacos.
Okay, perfect. Well, you know, the other thing is, I know that you're going to really appreciate this, is that we realized that whatever region we're focusing on, we get to pray for that nation. We get to pray for those people, that they have a deep connection to the Lord Jesus Christ.
Yes.
You know, it's just amazing that, you know, it's one thing to step into and care about a culture because what they're doing interests us, but what interests God? So I love the idea of Germany. I hadn't thought about that yet, but I do love German food, and I don't know much about Germany. So I'm
If you
going
let me
to.
go on that, I'm going to tell you that the Lord has put in my heart and many other ladies that I pray with to pray for the nations during this time, especially for the next 40 days. So God put in my heart to pray also for North Korea. So I've been praying for the people in North Korea. So I feel
Amen.
like God is putting that and sinking into our hearts to be praying for the nations.
And the way that we hear that from the Lord is by spending time with the Lord.
Yes.
So you're obviously spending some sweet time with the Lord, because that's where we hear his still small voice, right?
Yes. I think it's so important to, even though sometimes it's hard when we're busy, and I'm guilty of that, and I want to say that, really confessing the fact that sometimes when I get too busy, I do not give God the priority, but that I felt myself, because God is still God, but I'm nothing without him. And when I draw close to him, I'm like, I feel complete. And when I feel complete, I'm able to just be able to still have joy in the midst of the storm that we're living. But it also helps, and it helps me at least, to be surrounded by other believers that share in your faith, to pray with or to pray for you, because sometimes we need that prayer. We need that scripture to be text to us that will encourage us. So it's important to really analyze who we surround ourselves with, and and if we can have a group of girls, of families, to be able to share our faith, it really helps.
Well said. Yeah, this is the picture of the body of Christ. We need each other. We cannot do life without community. We were created by God to be in community, and absolutely. And the church, you know, that unique part of Christ, right? That body of believers, which is really all that means, right? We are the church. You know, the building isn't the church. You know that. But that we are the church. We need each other, and we lift each other higher, because, like you say, when you say pray for the nations, that stirs up stuff within us to say, yes, more than ever, we need to be praying for the nations.
Absolutely.
So thank you for sharing that. And I welcome anybody who wants to do 12 regions in 12 months to take that upon themselves and really do something unique with their family and fun at the same time. Culturally, you know, becoming culturally, what's the opposite of ignorant? Because I've been culturally ignorant, you know?
Actually, I feel like this is a good thing to do with our kids during this time. Actually,
Yeah, teaching our kids for sure. So, okay, so just some fun facts about you. Given a choice, would you want to snuggle up with a good novel, or would you want to watch a movie?
Gosh, you see, this is why I get in trouble, because I want both. I want to have like, okay, can I split the time in half? So I'll do like a little bit of reading, and not necessarily a novel, but just do some nice reading, quiet time, and then also like sit there and watch a really good movie.
Okay, but if you had an hour and a half and you could only do one or the other, what would you choose?
I think I'll watch a movie.
Okay. Given a choice of two restaurants, would you choose Chinese or would you choose Italian?
Italian.
No question about that, huh? Not even a hesitation. Okay. Given a choice, would you have a, let's see, a sports car or a tricked out SUV?
Oh, SUV all the way.
Especially with what you do, right? I mean, with your equipment, your family.
You know, my prayer is that I want a Jeep. That's been my prayer for a while. So I'll send you a photo of it, or I'll take you for a ride.
Okay, we'll touch and agree. Well, you know, my best friend May Bagnell will tell you, put it on, slap that picture on a vision board and keep it in front of you, right?
All right, if you can see my vision board, I have a yellow Jeep.
Oh, it's yellow too. Okay.
Well, that's the only one I found, but I'll take the yellow. I don't complain.
Which color would you like?
I would say either black or blue.
Okay.
They have like this soft blue.
Okay. I touch and agree with you that in the Lord's perfect timing, you'll have your blue Jeep.
So guess what? I feel like the Lord has been challenging me through this time of prayer since we've been in this quarantine. And he's like, give me your crazy prayers. So I've just been giving him all crazy prayers. And he's the one who's telling me, write your crazy prayers. So I'm writing them.
Yes.
And see,
Well, God gets the glory, when our dreams come true, when our prayers come true, a lot of times we're guilty of asking him for things that we can get ourselves. Right. And this is not at all to say, because I already know your heart, and I'm just going to say it for a listener. We do not see our Heavenly Father, our King, as a genie. What we do see him as the God of the impossible. And we believe that when he says, ask me for whatever you will, and I will give it to you. We believe that. In fact, we've lived it. So, giving God our crazy prayers is about faith, because you won't ask God if you don't have faith. So it takes faith to say, Lord, I know this is it's impossible for me, but I know it's impossible for you. In fact, the Bible says it is possible for me if I believe. That's true. I ask God for some crazy things too, and I believe by faith that they will come to pass. So girl, I cannot wait until you get that Jeep and you share that with us. Well, how can people connect with you?
So you could connect my phone number or email address.
How do your clients get in touch with you?
So you could go to probably the easiest way would be to go to my website, which is www.claudiarios.photography. And from there, you can find my social media handles. You could get my email. You could get my phone number.
Okay, fabulous. So that's
if anyone needs prayer, if anybody wants to reach out and want to just have a prayer or any word of God, I will be happy to share anything that's in my heart.
Thank you. I love that. So it's www.claudiarios.photography.
Yes.
Okay. And for those that would like to connect with me, that are not already connected with me on Facebook, you can find me at Laura Dahne Kingdom Conversations. And if you're interested in workshops on inner healing or on grief recovery, you can find me at www.lauradahne.com, Dahne. When Jim asked me to marry him, he said I would have the most mispronounced last name, and he was right. But I love to connect with people. I love coming to churches and sharing how God, has a plan for all of us to get unstuck so that we can live the full life that Christ came to give us. And I'm very passionate about, women, coming through grief. That's one area that I've gone through a lot of in my life, and the Lord has taught me a lot about how to not only come out of grief in a timeline, because I say there is no timeline for grief, but in a timeline led by the Lord, not led by myself or other people, because I think that's important for people to hear. But I have a passion to see people be set free, in their emotions. And again, there's a healthy way to heal, and there's an unhealthy way. So if your church or business is interested in learning about that, that's something that, as Claudia is very passionate with her photography, so am I, when it comes to the conversation of Christ-centered inner healing. Okay, so Claudia, I want to give you the floor. What do you want to leave our listeners with today?
Yeah. So I just wanted real quick to piggyback on what you just said, and just because I remembered right now, and I feel that credit needs to be given where credit is due. And so when I was starting the process of the possibility of living agape and stepping out of faith, you were one that encouraged me, that supported me through prayer. When I walk into your office asking for prayer on this and clarity, and also that helped me get over fear. Yeah. So I thank you for that. I thank you for being that little coach throughout that season of my life. Even though whenever I need you, I call you, but just bringing back to the fact that you were already working in my heart and helping me get to where I am today. And so any words of anything? Okay, so I would just say that anything can be possible when God is with us, when we seek him, that he is faithful to answer us. Don't give up, push through, because a lot of things that we have to do is through a lot of pushing, just like when you're giving birth. Sometimes we got to push through our own selves, push through our doubts, push through our fears, push through everything that hinders the dream that God has put in your heart. Yeah. So
that's
continue going through that.
That's good. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being my guest. Thank you for being a woman of God. Thank you for being an amazing photographer. And thank you. I'd like to have you back, when you're going to be doing some specials. I'd love to have you come back and share with us, what those things are. Okay. God bless
I love
you.
you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.